everyone. It's No here, presenting my final project. My big problem, which I chose, was natural resource depletion. So, what exactly is this big problem? I'll go ahead and read this part right here. Global crises affect mental health, and climate control is no exception. One study aligns with prior research that climate related stress is a predictor of depression and anxiety. Now, this is a problem that's facing the whole globe. That would be natural resource depletion and exhaustion. This relates to our physical health as well as our mental health. And this empirical piece of data definitely links it to mental health. Researchers used the KIDS Screen 10, a modified version of the patient health questionnaire, to assess psychopathological symptoms of German students from the 7th to 9th grade. Now, their findings were that, like like the prior study, these global problems, these big problems such as climate change, really do impact people's mental health, and they cause anxiety and depression. Although it's not all doom and gloom, with the power of communication, social loafing can stifle awareness about this issue. Everyone can know about the dangers of resource exhaustion, but people assume others will swoop in and save the day. It's up to everyone on Earth to cultivate a game plan towards an eco-friendlier society. Just like this picture right here, it really takes a lot of teamwork to tackle a big problem like this. So I used social loafing to relate to the idea of this problem because it might not be as big of a problem as we think as it has to be if if everyone came together and was able to impact the globe by changing their behaviors. Now, it's important that we identify some associated trends with this research. Um, there were a lot of increase, there was a high increase of climate change related topics in mental health literature as of late. This study right here really conceptualizes it. It's not necessarily easy to interpret the data, but it is useful for experts in their respective fields to understand what work needs to be done in order to fix the problem. It also mentions a key point that research is lacking on connecting environmental injustice to mental health, because injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So this piece of data is conceptualized, it's put into a picture right here with four different colors representing four different types of terms that are often associated with climate change related and mental health related literature on these medical websites. I also found a really good quote from another piece of research right here. Although classic economic models acknowledge the existence of natural resources as constraints to grow, they often fail to adequately account for their sustainable exploitation and optimal management, especially in terms of internalizing externalities such as environmental degradation and resource depletion. Now, this is some very technical jargon, and a lot of high vocab words are used here, but it's basically saying that our past economic forms, our past economic formulas, we knew of the limits of natural resources, that they can be depleted. However, we failed to adequately examine how to be sustainable, how to use these and be sustainable. So we failed in managing our own natural resources because we haven't necessarily grasped the whole um, weight of things such as environmental degradation and resource depletion. So cleaning up the earth really carries a lot of social impact. And now this brings us to what can be done. I cited this report about a campus-based community clinic that added a food shelf to reduce food insecurity and build a better living system for the community. Now, ecological sustainability won't happen overnight, but there are main veins that need to be protected to help combat resource depletion. More green spaces are a step in the right direction as they allow pollinators to interact more with the system they rely on. This model was exemplified in one report from St. Catherine University. St. Kate's modeled a One Health approach to addressing food insecurity on campus by offering a campus-based food shelf with community-grown produce. The benefits include increased food security, improved nutritional health, reinvigorated community support, and a reminder of simple things adding up to big measures. This slide right here is a picture of the model I just mentioned on that last slide. It's really interesting to see how they have four aspects with the pollinators connecting with health, mental and physical, along with community gardens, and then community support in tending the gardens. They all come together to create a more vibrant living system. And then this is our reflection right here. This problem is important for many social groups. This is why I picked it. This problem impacts farmers, consumers, and even people who aren't part of many social groups at all. The world relies on natural resources like soil, water, and fresh air. However, these elements staying clean is the most important thing that needs to happen, and we really need to shift our attention towards making that happen. This is important socially because the more the merrier. This really isn't going to happen just by one person making a stand. We really need proper teamwork and group interaction. There are lots of mouths to feed. There are solutions that are right under our noses. Many people underestimate their general impact they can have. Gardens can even impact the environment in a positive way just by bringing more pollinators to the area. It stands out to me. It seems very obvious that there's a lot of research needed, and there's a lot of ignorance about this topic, just a lot of things that are unknown, which is a shame. Small choices can create big differences. So I think it's really important that we don't feel guilty and that we stand up and we really research and look at what needs to be done. With social psychology in mind, there are problems, excuse me, there are infinite solutions to the problem. There could be over 8 billion solutions to the problem if we all looked at it. But the time allowed for us to solve the problem is not unlimited. But this should not be seen as a deterrent or a threat or something that's scary. There are many solutions to the problem. You can support local farmers markets, visit forests to instill a green mindset, and nature sanctuaries to and also visit nature sanctuaries to help communities, to help conservation efforts. Definitely visit nature sanctuaries and be aware of the possibilities. It might not be possible for everyone to tend a garden or make a huge social and ecological change, but the journey is far more important than the destination. And that's what needs to be taken to achieve the destination, is we have to start looking at the road there. So thank you all for watching this project. I really appreciate all the time and energy you put into this class. And it was a pleasure working with you guys on this project. Have a good one.